Aqua Expeditions is making the case for a more intentional kind of luxury travel, expert-led, small-scale journeys to remote destinations where access comes with responsibility. Francesco Galizziaro joins us to explore what that means. So, Francesco, can you fill us in? What's driving the shift towards a more immersive, experience-led journeys today?
See, this journey began 20 years ago when I founded Aqua Expeditions in the Peruvian Amazon. And I felt that there's always this kind of sense of exploration. I think innately we all have this sense of adventure that is driving people to go to these far-flung destinations. And over the 18 years, we've built a collection of small ship expeditions that ply either exotic rivers of the world, like the Amazon River and the Mekong River, and more recently, ocean expeditions like Raja Ampat, Komodo National Park, or the Galapagos Island, the iconic conservation destinations. And the ultimate kind of wildlife experience is sub-Saharan Africa, but this time on an explorer ship that explores the coastline of East Africa from Tanzania, Zanzibar, and then onwards to the outer islands of the Seychelles. I vowed to always be able to appeal to our travelers' sense of adventure and allow them to see these remote parts of the world in a setting of comfort, luxury, but also active wildlife, nature focused. If you want to go fish for piranhas in the Amazon or look for pink dolphins, or if not, you want to go swim with oceanic mantas in Raja Ampat. People want to go there in small group with like-minded travelers that are respectful of the destination and within the confines of the regulations. That's when these people want to kind of continuously drive to build a brand loyalty with us and stay within the fleet of Aqua Expeditions.
Now, just to make sure that we are on the same page, what does genuine access exactly mean in this kind of luxury travel?
I think the ability to do something that's very unique. I think authenticity is obviously the key driving differentiating factor here. We're not a mainstream cruise line. We're not driving masses and masses of travelers to very iconic kind of harbors and ports of call. What I'm doing is I'm doing custom built expeditions going outside of that regular beaten track and finding these unique opportunities. What we do is we find these authenticity by going outside of the regular kind of traditional program and itinerary. So when I go to East Africa, I literally take the speedboats, look at a map, build with the local guides. We build programs that go outside of the traditional routes where maybe other bigger ships can go. We can get in close and get really deep inside a destination and become a destination specialist. So we know when is the best time to see and maximize the opportunity to swim with oceanic mantas. We know when the better tides are to get into an inner lagoon in a Raja Ampat where typically you can't access unless you have very small zodiac ribs, and you can get into an inner lagoon and see sharks that are nursery sharks or manta nurseries feeding there, and in a protected area see them very, very close. It's that insider access and that sense of adventure and exploration that really drive our guests to travel with us, because we can do this in small groups. None of our ships are larger than 40 guests, so it can have very little impact on these very fragile ecosystems. We do this in a very, very low impact way with a floating base camp of our ships, either in coastal waterways or ocean ships, and do this in an authentic, responsible way with local crew, local suppliers, local experiences, and curated to world-class adventure travelers.
That's really great to hear that you are considering impact. So, with that, do you also have any suggestions on how the industry can balance access with preservation in fragile destinations?
I think the key here is obviously making sure that you have a public-private partnership. The areas we go to are naturally fragile ecosystems. So we have a responsibility to tread carefully and make sure that these destinations are there for generations to come. I've been going to the Galapagos Islands for more than 30 years, and it's amazing how today you can still go and have the same experience where the birds' nests are on the floors. Why? Because it's been so protected, so controlled, but still you can have an amazing experience. As long as those ecosystems, that balance is still maintained by local authorities and park regulations, and the operators abide by those rules, you can still provide a world-class wildlife experiences. You can snorkel with hundreds of sea lions, of hammerhead sharks, of mantas, of everything you want in the Galapagos is there. Marine iguanas, giant tortoises on land. But to do this in a controlled ecosystem is the balance between making sure that those areas are protected. Because we have a responsibility to work with the local authorities, to work with the park wardens, with the local regulations, and make sure that there is this balance of conservation-led tourism, but in small numbers. And I think that's the key. I'm not about just dropping more ships in any parts of the world. I curate the destinations because they're protected, or we can contribute to protection by bringing high-value tourism, but not high numbers of guests.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Francesco. Looking forward to having you back on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, that was Francesco Galli-Zuccario, CEO of Aqua Expeditions. For more news, visit traveldailymedia.com.